The massive council chamber buzzed with conversation as representatives from 47 different worlds took their seats. Crystal formations from Nexara glowed softly beside the flowing water beings of Aquanus. Tall, proud warriors from the hegemony stood next to the gentle flower-like creatures of the Botanical Alliance. This was the Galactic Council, and today they had a problem. Ambassador Zethkar of the Vorthak Empire rose from his seat. His blue skin shimmered under the chamber lights as he cleared his throat. The room fell silent. Everyone knew what he was going to talk about. It was the same thing they discussed every few months now. Fellow council members, Zethkar began, his voice carrying across the vast chamber. We must address the Earth situation once again. A collective sigh rippled through the assembly. Some representatives rolled their eyes. Others shook their heads. The Earth situation had become a joke among the galactic community. Speaker Veltara, the council's diplomatic leader, nodded from her elevated platform. Her silver hair caught the light as she gestured for Zethkar to continue. Please proceed with your report, Ambassador. Zethkar activated his holographic display. Numbers and data streams filled the air above his head. Earth has now ignored 847 consecutive meeting invitations. This spans 120 standard galactic years. War Chief Graktos of the hegemony laughed loudly. His massive frame shook with amusement. Those primitive humans, they probably forgot they were even part of the council. Other representatives chuckled. The humans had been such a disappointment. When Earth was first discovered, there had been excitement. A new species meant new ideas, new technologies, new perspectives. But the humans had attended only a handful of meetings before disappearing entirely. They came to maybe 10 sessions, continued Zethkar. Then they just stopped. No explanation, no formal withdrawal. They simply vanished from galactic politics. Dr. Nithara, a thin scientist from the research collective, raised one of her 4 arms. Speaker Veltara, may I share my observations? Of course, Doctor. Nithara stood gracefully. Her large eyes scanned the chamber as she spoke. I have studied human behavior extensively. During their brief participation, they asked very few questions. But the questions they did ask were quite specific. What kind of questions? Asked Veltara. Military ones mostly. They wanted to know about our defense systems, our weapons technology, our battle strategies. They asked about historical conflicts and how they were resolved. Graktos snorted, probably planning to attack someone. Typical aggressive species behavior. I do not believe that is correct, Nithara replied calmly. Their questions suggested they were learning, not plotting. They seemed most interested in understanding how galactic conflicts develop and spread. The chamber erupted in discussion. Representatives talked over each other, sharing their own theories about human behavior. Some thought the humans were too primitive to understand galactic politics. Others believed they were too proud to participate. A few suggested they might be planning something dangerous. Speaker Veltara raised her hand for silence. What do we actually know about current human activities? Zethkar consulted his data again. Very little. They maintain basic trade relationships with a few nearby systems. Their merchant ships are polite but brief in communication. They purchase raw materials, mostly metals, rare minerals, and energy crystals. What do they trade in return? Asked a representative from the mining guild. Manufactured goods. Simple electronics, basic medical supplies, some food products. Nothing remarkable. Dr. Nithara spoke up again. Our long-range sensors have detected significant industrial activity in the Sol system. Energy signatures suggest massive construction projects. This caught several representatives' attention. Industrial activity usually meant economic growth or military buildup. What kind of construction? Veltara inquired. Unknown. The humans have erected some kind of interference field around their system. Our sensors can detect energy usage but cannot identify specific structures or purposes. Graktos leaned forward. That sounds suspicious. Why would they hide their activities unless they were building weapons? Many species value privacy, Veltara pointed out. The hermit worlds of Seclusia have maintained communication barriers for centuries. But the hermit worlds never joined the council, argued Graktos. The humans accepted membership, then abandoned their responsibilities. The debate continued for hours. Some representatives wanted to revoke Earth's membership immediately. Others suggested sending an investigation fleet. A few thought they should simply ignore the humans entirely. Finally, Veltara called for order. We need a decision. Earth is technically still a council member, but they have not participated in over a century. This creates legal complications. What kind of complications? Asked someone from the back. If a major galactic crisis occurs, all member worlds are required to provide assistance. The humans could claim they were never properly informed because they did not attend meetings. This was a serious concern. The galaxy had enjoyed 800 years of relative peace. But tensions were rising in several sectors. The aggressive Dominion of Keth had been making territorial demands. Pirates were becoming bolder in outer rim systems. Some intelligence reports suggested unknown threats from beyond the galactic edge. I propose we send one final invitation, announced Veltara. An ultimatum. Attend the next council session or face formal expulsion from the galactic community. Most representatives agreed this was reasonable. Earth would have one last chance to explain their absence and rejoin the community. If they refused, the council could move forward without legal concerns. The vote was overwhelming. Only Dr. Nithara abstained. Doctor, why did you not vote? Asked Veltara. Nithara hesitated before answering. I believe we are making an error. My research suggests humans do not behave like other species. Their silence may not mean what we think it means. What else could it mean? Gractos demanded. I am not certain, but every species that joins the council wants something from the galactic community. Humans never asked for anything. They attended a few meetings, gathered information, then left. This behavior is unprecedented. Maybe they realized they were too primitive to contribute, suggested Zethkar. Or maybe they decided the council was not worth their time. Nithara replied quietly. This comment caused an uproar. How dare anyone suggest the Galactic Council was not important? Representatives shouted and argued until Veltara restored order. The decision is made, she announced. We will send the ultimatum to Earth. They have 30 standard days to respond. As the session ended, representatives filed out of the chamber. Most were satisfied with the decision. A few were curious about what the humans would say. Gractos muttered about primitive species and their lack of respect. Only Dr. Nithara remained troubled. She had spent years studying human behavior patterns, human history, human psychology. Nothing about their species suggested they would abandon galactic politics without a very good reason. Humans were builders. They were planners. They were problem solvers who thought in long timelines. Their absence from council meetings was not random or careless. It was deliberate, but why? What had they been doing for 120 years? As Nithara left the chamber, she made a private note to increase monitoring of the Sol system. Something told her the answer would be important very soon. The ultimatum was transmitted to Earth that evening. Like all previous messages, it received no immediate response. The galaxy would wait 30 days to see if the mysterious humans would finally break their silence. None of them suspected that deep in the Sol system, massive construction projects were reaching completion. Projects that would change everything. The emergency alarm echoed through the council chamber. Representatives rushed to their seats as urgent messages flooded the communication networks. Speaker Veltara appeared on the central display, her usually calm face showing deep concern. Council members, we face a crisis, she announced. The Dominion of Keth has launched attacks on 3 Seraphim worlds. The 800-year galactic peace has been broken. War Chief Gractos slammed his fist on his seat's armrest. I warned you this would happen. The Dominion has been building their fleet for decades. We should have acted sooner. The holographic display showed tactical information from the attacked worlds. Seraphim cities burned under orbital bombardment. Refugee ships fled desperately toward Allied space. The peaceful, spiritual Seraphim had no military forces capable of resisting the Dominion's war machine. Ambassador Zethkar stood quickly. What are our response options? Limited, replied Admiral Threx of the Defense Coalition. His scarred face reflected years of military experience. The Dominion struck without warning. Their fleet composition suggests they have been planning this invasion for years. Dr. Nithara raised one of her arms. May I share concerning intelligence? Proceed, Doctor. Our monitoring stations have detected massive fleet movements throughout Dominion space. This attack on the Seraphim appears to be only the beginning. Intelligence suggests they are preparing for a much larger campaign. The chamber erupted in worried conversations. If the Dominion was planning a major war, every peaceful species in the galaxy was at risk. The Dominion's military philosophy was simple: conquer or destroy. They had no interest in diplomacy or compromise. Speaker Veltara called for order. We need immediate military assistance for the Seraphim. Which worlds can provide defense fleets? Several representatives responded, but their offers were modest. The galaxy had enjoyed peace for so long that most species had reduced their military forces. They had police ships and patrol vessels, but nothing capable of matching the Dominion's war fleets. What about the hegemony? Asked someone. Graktos shook his massive head. My people are warriors, but we are few. We can provide perhaps 50 combat ships, not enough to stop a full Dominion invasion. Admiral Threx reviewed fleet compositions on his tactical display. Combining all available forces, we might assemble 300 vessels. The Dominion attack fleet alone consists of over 800 ships. The mathematics were grim. The peaceful species of the galaxy simply did not have the military strength to resist a determined aggressor like the Dominion of Keth. What about calling for emergency assistance from all member worlds? Suggested Zethkar. Even Earth? Several representatives laughed bitterly. Earth had not responded to their ultimatum, which had expired 3 days ago. The humans remained as silent as ever. Earth has no significant military, scoffed Admiral Threx. Our intelligence reports suggest they maintain perhaps a few dozen patrol ships, primitive vessels by galactic standards. Dr. Nithara looked uncomfortable. Admiral, when did we last update our intelligence on human military capabilities? Approximately 70 years ago. They had some basic defensive forces around their homeworld and primary colonies. Nothing impressive. 70 years is a long time, Nithara observed quietly. Not long enough for a primitive species to develop serious military power, Graktos declared. Besides, they have been ignoring us completely. Why would they help now? The discussion was interrupted by another urgent alert. The tactical display updated with new information. The Dominion had launched a second wave of attacks, this time targeting the Trading Federation's commercial worlds. They are moving faster than anticipated, Admiral Threx reported grimly. At this rate, they will control 20 star systems within the month. Speaker Veltara made a decision. Send emergency assistance requests to all member worlds, including Earth. Even if they cannot provide military support, they might offer humanitarian aid or supply assistance. What if Earth still does not respond? Asked Zethkar. Then we will face this crisis without them, Veltara replied. But we must ask. As the emergency session continued, Dr. Nithara quietly accessed her private research files. For years she had been monitoring energy signatures from the Sol system. The readings had grown more intense over time, suggesting massive industrial activity. But what kind of industry required such enormous power consumption? The data was puzzling. The energy patterns did not match typical manufacturing, mining, or research facilities. They were too focused, too concentrated, almost as if the humans were building something very large or very energy-intensive. Her analysis was interrupted by another alarm. The Dominion had declared war on the entire Galactic Council. Their leader, Supreme Commander Vexthal, appeared on all communication channels. Species of the galaxy, his metallic voice announced. The age of weak diplomacy is over. The Dominion of Keth will bring order to this chaos. Submit now and be spared. Resist and be destroyed, the message was clear. This was not a territorial dispute or economic conflict. The Dominion intended to conquer the entire galaxy. Representative after representative stood to speak. Some called for immediate military mobilization. Others suggested diplomatic solutions. A few proposed retreat to fortified systems until a better strategy could be developed. Through it all, Dr. Nithara remained focused on her data. Something was bothering her about the human situation. She pulled up historical records of Earth's brief participation in council meetings. The humans had asked very specific questions during their few attended sessions. Questions about galactic warfare, defense strategies, historical conflicts, and military technologies. At the time, everyone assumed they were simply curious about galactic politics. But looking at the questions now, in the context of current events, they seemed almost prophetic. The humans had asked exactly what someone would need to know if they were preparing for a major galactic war. Dr. Nithara, Speaker Veltara called, interrupting her thoughts. You abstained from our earlier vote regarding Earth. Do you have insights that might help us now? Nithara stood slowly. The chamber fell silent as she considered her words carefully. Speaker Veltara, fellow representatives, I believe we have fundamentally misunderstood the humans. In what way? Asked Veltara. We assumed their absence from council meetings indicated disinterest or inability to participate in galactic affairs. But humans do not behave like other species. They are builders and planners who think in very long timelines, Graktos interrupted impatiently. What does this matter now? We face immediate destruction. It matters because we may have allies we do not recognize, Nithara replied calmly. The energy signatures from the Sol system suggest the humans have been engaged in massive construction projects for over a century. Projects requiring unprecedented amounts of power and resources. Construction of what? Demanded Admiral Threx, unknown, but the scale suggests something far beyond normal infrastructure development. Before anyone could respond, a new alert sounded. This one was different, not an emergency signal, but an incoming communication from an unexpected source. We have a message from Earth, announced the communication officer. The chamber fell completely silent. After 120 years of silence, the humans were finally responding. The message was brief. Council communication received. Galactic situation acknowledged. We are coming, that was all. No explanations. No requests for information, no diplomatic pleasantries. Just a simple statement that sent chills through the assembled representatives. What does that mean? Whispered someone. Dr. Nithara felt a mixture of excitement and fear. After years of wondering what the humans had been doing, they were about to find out. The galaxy was at war, and the mysterious humans had finally broken their silence. Whatever they had been building in the Sol system for the past century, it was apparently ready. 3 days after Earth's cryptic message, a single ship appeared at the council station. It was sleek and gray with clean lines that spoke of advanced engineering. The vessel was larger than a typical diplomatic transport, but smaller than a warship. Most importantly, it bore the markings of Earth. Representatives gathered in the docking bay to witness this historic moment. For over a century, no human had set foot on the council station. Dr. Nithara stood near the front, her scientific curiosity overwhelming her usual caution. The ship's airlock opened with a soft hiss. 5 humans emerged, walking with casual confidence despite the dozens of alien eyes watching them. They wore simple gray uniforms with minimal decoration. No weapons were visible, though their movements suggested military training. The leader was a woman with short black hair and dark eyes. She appeared to be middle-aged by human standards, with the kind of calm demeanor that came from years of command experience. She approached the reception committee without hesitation. I am Captain Sarah Chen of the United Earth Forces, she announced. Her voice was steady and clear. I apologize for our delayed response to your invitation. Speaker Veltara stepped forward. Captain Chen, welcome to the council station. I am Speaker Veltara. We are pleased to finally meet with Earth's representatives again. Thank you, Chen replied simply. I understand you are facing a crisis. War Chief Graktos pushed closer, his massive frame towering over the humans. Where have your people been for over a century? The galaxy needed unity and Earth abandoned us. Captain Chen looked up at Graktos without any sign of intimidation. We have been preparing. Preparing for what? Demanded Graktos. This, Chen said simply. The diplomatic reception was brief. Captain Chen and her team were escorted to the council chamber, where an emergency session had been called. Representatives whispered among themselves as the humans took their assigned seats. After so many years of absence, Earth was finally participating in galactic politics again. Speaker Veltara called the session to order. Captain Chen, the galaxy faces its worst crisis in 8 centuries. The Dominion of Keth has declared war on the Council and begun systematic conquest of peaceful worlds. Can Earth provide assistance? Chen consulted a small device in her hand. Our intelligence suggests the Dominion has deployed approximately 1,200 warships across 17 attack groups. They have conquered 6 star systems and are advancing on multiple fronts. Estimated timeline for total galactic conquest, 18 months. The precision of her information shocked the assembled representatives. How did Earth know such detailed intelligence about Dominion forces? Admiral Threx leaned forward. Captain, how did you acquire such specific military data? Our own intelligence networks have been unable to penetrate Dominion communications. We have been monitoring galactic communications for the past century, Chen replied matter-of-factly. All public and most private channels. We are quite well informed about galactic affairs. You have been spying on us? Graktos roared. We have been watching, Chen corrected. There is a difference. Dr. Nithara raised one of her arms. Captain Chen, may I ask what Earth has been doing during your absence from council meetings? Chen smiled slightly. It was the first emotion she had shown since arriving. Certainly, Doctor. We have been preparing for exactly this situation. How could you prepare for a specific war that began only days ago? Asked Admiral Threx. Wars like this are inevitable, Chen explained patiently. Aggressive species eventually challenge peaceful ones. We studied galactic history and identified the most likely scenarios. The Dominion was always the primary threat. She activated her own holographic display. The chamber fell silent as images filled the air above the human delegation. The first image showed Earth's moon, Luna. But it was not the barren rock most representatives remembered. The surface was covered with massive structures, factories, launch facilities, and enormous assembly yards. For the past 120 years, Earth has been preparing for galactic war, Chen announced. We built the infrastructure necessary to defend not just our own world but the entire galaxy. The next image showed construction bays filled with incredible machines. They were humanoid in shape but enormous in size. Each one stood as tall as a small building, with thick armor plating and weapon systems integrated throughout their frames. These are steel titans, Chen explained. Piloted war machines designed specifically for large-scale combat operations. Graktos stared at the images in disbelief. How large are those machines? Each Titan stands approximately 80 meters tall and masses 4,000 tons. They are equipped with energy weapons, kinetic systems, defensive shields, and advanced tactical computers. One Titan has the combat effectiveness of a small warship. Admiral Threx studied the technical specifications appearing on the display. How many of these machines have you built? Currently operational, 10,000 Titans. Production capacity, 500 units per month. The chamber erupted in shocked conversations. 10,000 war machines of that size represented military power beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. No single species had ever built such a massive force. Speaker Veltara called for order. Captain Chen, this is remarkable. But how do you transport such large machines to combat zones? Chen smiled again. We do not transport them. We deploy them directly. Before anyone could ask what that meant, alerts began sounding throughout the station. The tactical displays showed massive energy signatures appearing throughout the galaxy. Ships were dropping out of hyperspace near Dominion-occupied worlds. What is happening? Demanded Admiral Threx. Chen consulted her device again. Steel Titans are beginning deployment to active combat zones. We identified 17 priority targets based on current Dominion positions. How are you deploying them so quickly? Asked Dr. Nithara. Drop pods, Chen replied. Each Titan is equipped with individual insertion systems. They can be deployed directly from orbit to planetary surfaces within minutes. The tactical displays updated rapidly as human forces appeared across the galaxy. Not just individual machines but entire formations of steel Titans supported by human naval vessels that were clearly far more advanced than anyone had suspected. This is impossible, whispered Graktos. No species can coordinate military operations on such a scale. Humans can, Chen said simply. We have been practicing for over a century. Speaker Veltara struggled to comprehend what she was witnessing. Captain Chen, why did Earth choose to prepare in secret? Why not work with the Council to build a unified defense? Chen's expression became serious. Because committees cannot make the hard decisions necessary for effective military action. The Council has spent 3,000 years talking. Earth spent 120 years building. You planned this entire response without consulting anyone, Admiral Threx observed. We planned for every likely scenario, Chen confirmed. The Dominion represents Scenario 3. Aggressive expansion by a militaristic species with conquest goals. We wargamed the situation thousands of times. Dr. Nithara felt pieces of a puzzle clicking together in her mind. The questions your representatives asked during early council meetings. You were gathering intelligence for military planning. Correct. We needed to understand galactic warfare patterns, defense strategies, and technological capabilities. The Council provided excellent educational opportunities. So Earth's absence from meetings was not abandonment, Veltara realized. It was focus. Time spent in meetings is time not spent preparing, Chen agreed. We chose preparation. The tactical displays continued updating as Steel Titans engaged Dominion forces across multiple star systems. Early reports suggested the human war machines were performing exactly as designed. Dominion fleets that had seemed unstoppable were suddenly facing opposition they had never imagined. "Captain Chen," Graktos asked quietly, "what do you need from the Council?" "Nothing," Chen replied. "We need you to stay out of our way while we resolve this situation." "And after the war?" asked Veltara. "After the war, we will discuss new security arrangements for the galaxy. Arrangements that prevent future conflicts like this one." As the session continued, representatives began to understand they were witnessing a fundamental change in galactic politics. Earth had not abandoned the Council. They had evolved beyond it. While other species debated and discussed, humans had quietly built the military force necessary to protect everyone. The march of the Steel Titans had begun, and the galaxy would never be the same. Outside the Council station, human ships moved with purpose toward distant battlefields where the real test of their century-long preparation was about to begin. The Dominion's fortress world of Nexus 7 had never fallen to enemy attack. Its massive planetary shields could withstand bombardment from entire fleets. Underground bunkers housed millions of soldiers and thousands of war machines. Admiral Korthvel, commanding the planet's defenses, watched his orbital sensors with satisfaction as his forces prepared to repel any assault. Then the readings changed. "Admiral, we have multiple contacts dropping from hyperspace," reported his tactical officer. "How many ships?" Korthvel demanded. "No ships, sir. The contacts are too small. Approximately 200 objects, each about the size of an escape pod." Korthvel studied the sensor data. The objects were falling toward his planet at incredible speed, their trajectory suggesting they would impact across his main defensive installations. "Weapons fire? No energy signatures. They appear to be inert. Meteorites? Unknown, sir. They are maintaining formation during descent." Korthvel had fought dozens of battles across his long career. He had never seen an attack pattern like this. Activate planetary defense guns. Destroy those objects before they reach the surface. The fortress world's massive energy cannons turned skyward. Beams of concentrated plasma lanced up toward the falling objects. Several direct hits were recorded, but the targets continued their descent unchanged. "Sir, the objects appear to have energy shields. Our weapons are not penetrating." "Impossible. Nothing that small can generate shields strong enough to resist our defense grid." The first object struck the planet's surface with tremendous force. The impact crater was enormous, sending shockwaves across the surrounding area. But instead of destruction, something incredible happened. The crater erupted with movement as a massive humanoid figure rose from the smoking ground. It was larger than any war machine Korthvel had ever seen, standing as tall as a 10-story building. Thick armor plated its entire frame and weapon systems were integrated throughout its structure. "What is that thing?" whispered the tactical officer. Before Korthvel could respond, more impacts occurred across the planet. Each crater produced another giant machine. Within minutes, 200 of the mechanical titans were standing on Nexus 7's surface. "Open fire on those machines," Korthvel ordered. Every weapon on the planet turned toward the invaders. Energy beams, kinetic projectiles, and explosive missiles rained down on the steel titans. The barrage was intense enough to level entire cities. The titans simply activated their own defensive shields and walked through the bombardment. Weapons fire that could destroy warships barely slowed their advance. "Admiral, they are approaching our primary defensive installations," the tactical officer reported with growing panic. Korthvel watched in horror as the mechanical giants methodically destroyed his planet's defenses. They moved with precision and coordination that spoke of extensive training. Each titan seemed to know exactly where to strike for maximum effect, but most terrifying was their efficiency. A fortress that had taken decades to build was being dismantled in hours. The Titans did not waste energy on unnecessary destruction. They simply removed anything that could threaten them, then moved to their next objective. "Sir, incoming transmission from the attacking forces. Put it through." A human voice came through the communication system. "Dominion forces on Nexus 7. This is Colonel Martinez of the 47th Titan Regiment. You are ordered to surrender immediately. Continued resistance will result in complete destruction of all military assets on this world." Korthvel had never surrendered in his entire military career. "I am Admiral Korthvel of the Dominion Defense Force. This world will never surrender to primitive humans." "Understood," came the calm reply. "Beginning Phase 2 operations." The Titans changed their tactics. Instead of methodically destroying defensive positions, they began targeting the planet's infrastructure. Power plants, communication centers, supply depots, and transportation networks were systematically eliminated. Within 2 hours, Nexus 7 was completely cut off from the rest of the Dominion fleet. No communications, no supplies, no reinforcements. The fortress world had become a prison. "Admiral," his tactical officer said quietly, "our orbital defense platforms are reporting similar attacks. Human forces are deploying those machines on every major installation in the system." Similar scenes were playing out across 17 star systems. Wherever the Dominion had established strong positions, steel titans were falling from the sky like metal rain. Each deployment was precise, coordinated, and devastatingly effective. On the Dominion command ship, Supreme Commander Vexathul watched tactical reports with growing disbelief. His unstoppable war machine was being stopped by an enemy that did not even seem to be trying very hard. "How many human ships are we facing?" he demanded. "Approximately 50 vessels, Supreme Commander, but they are not engaging our fleets directly. They are deploying ground forces. 50 ships against 1,200, and they are winning. The ships appear to be specialized carriers. Each one deploys hundreds of those mechanical soldiers directly to planetary surfaces. Our fleets cannot engage targets that are already on the ground." Vexthul studied the tactical displays. Traditional space warfare involved fleets fighting fleets, with the winner claiming control of orbital space and planetary surfaces. The humans had completely ignored this established pattern. Instead of fighting for space superiority, they had simply bypassed his fleets entirely. Their war machines were capturing planets while his ships flew uselessly overhead. "Can we bombard the planets to destroy those machines?" "Negative, sir. They have taken control of our own defensive installations. Any bombardment would also destroy our own forces." It was a tactical nightmare. The humans had turned the Dominion's greatest strength, their fortified worlds, into a weakness. Every defensive position had become a prison for Dominion forces. "Sir, incoming communication from Admiral Korthville." Vexthul accepted the transmission, expecting a battle report. Instead, his most experienced commander appeared on screen with defeat written across his features. "Supreme Commander, I must report the fall of Nexus 7. "The fortress fell?" "No, sir, it still stands, but it is under complete human control. My forces are trapped in the lower bunkers with no hope of escape or resupply. The enemy has offered terms for surrender." "What terms?" "Complete disarmament and withdrawal from all conquered territories. Immediate cessation of all military operations. Submission to human oversight of our remaining forces." Vexthul could not believe what he was hearing. "You are recommending surrender?" "Sir, I have fought the humans for 12 hours. Their capabilities are beyond anything we prepared for. Each of their war machines can defeat an entire battalion of our best troops. They have technology we do not understand and tactics we cannot counter. How many humans are we actually fighting? Unknown. The machines are piloted, but we estimate no more than 200 human soldiers are controlling the attack on this entire star system. 200 soldiers conquering a star system that held millions of Dominion troops. The mathematics of the situation were impossible to accept, but the results spoke for themselves. Reports continued flowing in from other battle zones. Every Dominion stronghold was falling to Steel Titan assault. The war machines seemed unstoppable, and the humans appeared to have an endless supply of them. "Supreme Commander," his tactical officer announced, "we are receiving surrender offers from 14 of our 17 attack groups." Vexathul realized his 1,000-year plan for galactic conquest had lasted exactly 6 days. The humans had not just defeated his forces, they had made them irrelevant. "Open a communication channel to the human command," he ordered. A holographic image appeared showing a human woman in a simple gray uniform. She had the same calm demeanor as all the humans he had encountered. "I am Admiral Sarah Chen of the United Earth Forces," she said. "I assume you wish to discuss terms. I am Supreme Commander Vexthul. What are your demands?" "Complete withdrawal from all conquered territories. Immediate cessation of hostilities. Dismantling of your offensive fleet capabilities. Acceptance of human peacekeeping forces in your remaining territory." "And if we refuse?" Admiral Chen's expression did not change. "Then we will continue our current operations until you have no territory left to refuse from." Vexthul looked at his tactical displays one more time. Red markers showed human forces advancing throughout Dominion space. His mighty war machine was being systematically dismantled by an enemy he had never taken seriously. "We accept your terms," he said finally. The Dominion War was over. It had lasted 6 days. The Steel Titans had proven that while the galaxy had spent centuries talking about peace, Earth had spent that time preparing to enforce it. The council chamber had never been so quiet. Representatives from 47 worlds sat in stunned silence as Admiral Sarah Chen delivered her report. 6 days ago, the galaxy had faced its greatest crisis in 8 centuries. Now that crisis was over and everyone was trying to understand what had just happened. "The Dominion of Keth has agreed to complete surrender," Chen announced matter-of-factly. "All conquered territories have been liberated. Dominion military forces are being disarmed under human supervision. Refugee populations are being returned to their homeworlds." Speaker Veltara found her voice first. "Admiral Chen, on behalf of the Galactic Council, I want to express our profound gratitude for Earth's intervention." Chen nodded politely. "Thank you, Speaker. We are pleased the situation was resolved quickly." War Chief Graktos leaned forward. His usual aggressive posture had been replaced by something approaching awe. "Admiral, how did your forces achieve such complete victory so rapidly?" "Preparation and execution," Chen replied simply. "We spent 120 years studying galactic warfare patterns. We identified the most likely threat scenarios and developed appropriate responses. When the situation arose, we implemented our prepared strategy." Dr. Nithara raised one of her arms. "Admiral, your Steel Titans performed beyond all theoretical expectations. Each machine seemed to possess capabilities far exceeding their apparent specifications. The Titans are designed for versatility," Chen explained. "Each pilot has trained for decades in virtual combat scenarios. The machines themselves incorporate technology gathered from across the galaxy during our observation period." "You reverse-engineered our technologies?" asked Admiral Thrax with professional interest. "We studied all available information and developed improvements. Human engineering philosophy focuses on reliability and effectiveness rather than complexity." Ambassador Zethkar spoke up. "Admiral, what are Earth's intentions now? Will your forces remain in the galaxy?" Chen paused before answering. This was the question everyone wanted to ask but had been afraid to voice. Earth now possessed the most powerful military force in galactic history. What would they do with that power? "Earth accepts permanent membership in the Galactic Council," Chen announced. "However, our participation will be different from traditional council practices." "In what way?" asked Veltara. "Earth will serve as the galaxy's primary peacekeeping force. We will maintain military installations on key worlds to prevent future conflicts. All member species will enjoy protection under human oversight." The word oversight sent a ripple of unease through the chamber. It implied authority that went beyond simple military assistance. Graktos voiced what many were thinking. "Admiral, are you saying Earth intends to control the galaxy?" "We intend to protect it," Chen corrected. "There is a difference. What kind of difference?" Pressed Admiral Threx. Chen activated her holographic display. It showed the current deployment of human forces across the galaxy. Steel Titans stood guard on hundreds of worlds, while human ships patrolled major trade routes and border regions. Traditional galactic politics relied on consensus and compromise, she explained. This system worked adequately during peaceful times but failed completely when faced with real threats. Earth offers a more effective approach. "Which is?" asked Veltara. "Stability through strength. The galaxy will enjoy peace because we will enforce it. Member species can focus on their preferred activities, trade, research, culture, diplomacy, while we handle security concerns." Dr. Nithara studied the deployment patterns. "This represents a fundamental change in galactic governance. Earth is proposing to become the galaxy's military authority." "Someone has to be," Chen replied. "The alternative is chaos whenever aggressive species decide to expand their territory." Speaker Veltara considered the implications carefully. "Admiral, what guarantee do we have that Earth will not abuse this authority?" "Our track record," Chen answered. "Earth could have conquered the galaxy ourselves at any time during the past century. We chose instead to remain hidden until the galaxy needed protection. Our actions demonstrate our intentions." "But you did monitor all our communications," pointed out Zethkar. "That suggests you were gathering intelligence for potential conquest." "We gathered intelligence to better protect you," Chen corrected. Understanding galactic politics, economics, and military capabilities helps us identify threats before they become critical. Galactos was struggling with the new reality. Admiral, the hegemony has always prided itself on military strength. How do we fit into this new order? The same way every species fits in, Chen replied. Focus on your strengths while we handle galactic security. The hegemony's warrior culture can contribute to peacekeeping operations under human coordination. As subordinates to human forces? Galactos asked with obvious discomfort. As partners in maintaining galactic stability, Chen clarified. We are not interested in ruling individual worlds or dictating internal policies. We only intervene in conflicts that threaten galactic peace. Admiral Threx raised a practical concern. Admiral, maintaining military forces on this scale must require enormous resources. How does Earth finance such operations? Resource efficiency, Chen explained. Our manufacturing systems are largely automated. Titan production requires minimal ongoing costs once initial infrastructure is established. Most of our budget goes to training pilots and maintaining technology. How many pilots do you have? Asked Dr. Nithara. Currently 50,000 trained Titan pilots with 10,000 additional trainees completing certification annually. Production capacity allows us to field up to 100,000 Titans simultaneously. The numbers were staggering. Earth had quietly built military capabilities that dwarfed the combined forces of the entire galaxy. Speaker Veltara made a decision. Admiral Chen, the Council needs time to discuss these proposals. Can you give us some indication of Earth's timeline for implementing these changes? The changes are already implemented, Chen replied. Human forces are currently deployed throughout the galaxy. We are offering the Council an opportunity to formalize arrangements that are already in place. And if the Council refuses? Asked Galactos. Then we will continue our peacekeeping operations without formal authorization, Chen said calmly. Galactic stability is not dependent on Council approval. The room fell silent again as representatives absorbed this statement. Earth was not asking for permission to protect the galaxy. They were informing the Council that protection was being provided whether anyone liked it or not. Dr. Nithara felt compelled to ask the question that was troubling her most. Admiral, what happens if Earth's government changes? If future human leaders decide to use this military power for conquest rather than protection? Chen smiled slightly. Doctor, you are thinking like a politician. Earth's approach is not based on political leadership, but on systematic analysis. Our military doctrine, training programs, and operational procedures are designed to maintain stability regardless of who holds political office, but surely political changes could alter Earth's policies, persisted Chithara. Our policies are based on mathematical analysis of optimal outcomes for galactic civilization, Chen explained. Mathematics does not change based on political preferences. 10 years later, Dr. Nithara sat in her research laboratory reviewing galactic stability reports. The numbers told an impressive story. Trade had increased by 400%. Scientific collaboration had reached unprecedented levels. Not a single military conflict had occurred anywhere in the galaxy. Steel Titans stood sentinel on thousands of worlds, their massive forms a constant reminder that peace was being actively maintained. Human patrol ships moved along every major space route, ensuring safe passage for all travelers. Some species had adapted better than others to the new order. The peaceful, research-focused civilizations thrived under human protection. More aggressive species, like the hegemony, struggled with their reduced military role but had found new purposes in exploration and engineering projects. The former Dominion worlds were prospering under reconstruction programs managed by human administrators. Former soldiers were being retrained for civilian occupations, while their war machines were being converted into industrial equipment. Nithara's personal research had shifted to studying human psychology and culture. She was fascinated by a species that could build overwhelming military power while using it solely for protective purposes. Her analysis suggested humans possessed a unique combination of traits: long-term thinking, systematic planning, and genuine concern for other species' welfare. They were builders and protectors by nature, not conquerors. A communication alert interrupted her thoughts. Admiral Chen appeared on her screen looking exactly the same as she had 10 years ago. Dr. Nithara, I hope you're well. Admiral, what can I do for you? I wanted to share some information about our latest deep space monitoring results. We have detected signals from beyond the galactic rim, Long-range analysis suggests possible artificial origin. Nithera felt a familiar chill. Another potential threat? Unknown at this time. We are deploying reconnaissance missions to investigate. I thought you might be interested in the preliminary data. As Chen transmitted the files, Nithara realized that Earth's vigilance never ceased.